Help support the companies that support our community. I'm going to make two stoppers in this video, and the first one I'm going to do an inlay on it. So I have a little waste block here, and I'm going to use double-sided tape. So I just tape the little piece I cut off to that little mark in there so I can center the blank up. You can see right through it. But it's just a little piece cut off, and then I use the Easy Wood detailer to just make it round, and then that will be inlaid in the top of the stopper. After I got it trued up, use the skew chisel to pop it off. That double-sided tape works great for stuff like this. And then I grab the blank. I'm using a piece of maple burl. Just put that in the chuck, and then I'm going to clean up this is the part that threads into the mandrel. So use a Forstner bit, and that makes a nice clean surface. Actually, it looks like I need to buy another one. There's a little ridge in there and I can't figure out why it was doing that. So I used the number 1 hauler to clean that little ridge up before drilling the hole. So this drill bit here is the 5/16. So after you do the Forstner bit, use 5/16, drill that down in there, and then you can thread it onto the mandrel. So when you're threading these onto the mandrel, go 3 or 4 turns, back it off, clean out the threads. Just keep doing that as you go down. If you just crank it down on there, it compacts all that stuff in there. So I do that anytime I just thread on a stopper. I go in a few turns, back it off, and make sure no matter what you're doing, even if you're using the inserts, make sure you bring the tailstock up to support it while you're turning it, and probably 95% of the shaping, the tailstock, leave it up there. So I used a spindle gouge to shape the outside of this one. So on the top of it, I'm going to inlay that little piece. So I left it a little bit big, just kind of rounded it over so it was flat. Same diameter as the little disc I was gonna, or actually a little bit bigger than the diameter of the disc I just made. And then once I had it all shaped, all cleaned up, pulled the tailstock away, and then I made a little recess in the top of it for the disc. And on this, you want it, nice, good fit, so just go slow. I cut it out, but I turned the lathe off, tested it, turned the lathe back on, cleaned out a little bit more. Did it 4 or 5 times until it fit in there just perfect, a little bit tight. So it's much easier to take off more material than to put it back on. Once I had a nice fit, use a little medium Starbond CA and put it in there, and then use the tailstock. I just pressed it in with that. Then to sand it, I left it a little bit proud, and I started out with 150. The resin sands off pretty quick, so I just rounded that over so it was a nice smooth transition from the resin to the wood, and ran through all the grids. And then I finished it up. Well, I put some oil on it when I got to 600, and this is walnut oil. did the whole thing, even the resin part. I'm going to use the micro mesh pads just for the resin part, and I put the oil on first so it didn't soak into the wood, and I'm going to go ahead and wet sand with the micro mesh, and I ran through all those up to 12,000. Then after that, put the Pins Plus on it. In the video here, I think I put on a couple of coats, but I ended up putting on 4 coats. You can build that stuff up, put on as many coats as you want, but I think around 4 or 5 is just about perfect. It protects it nice and gets a nice shine on it. And that is it. You're done. Unscrew it and put the stopper or opener on it. For the next one here, I'm going to use the whole blank. This is from Zac Higgins. He casts these for us. So I haven't done this before, so I thought it'd be kind of cool. And they are honeycomb, so I thought it'd be kind of cool to make it look like a little beehive. So same process here. You use the Forstner bit, drill down into it. So with this one, I use the 11/32 drill bit because it's pretty hard material. The 5/16 is for, just pretty much standard wood. Then the 11/32 is for hard stuff and resin. So you just thread it on. Again, I brought the tailstock up and used the spindle gouge to get it true. After that, I switched over to the number 1 hollower with the negative rake cutter on it. So for this, I just made kind of a little pod shaped. I'm going to use the beading tool here in a second. So you don't need to sand it or anything. I just kind of wanted that little pod shape. So I used the negative rake to get that. So I'm not sure if I've ever used the beading tool on resin before, but it took a little bit to get used to it. I had a couple little catches you'll see here in a second with it, but once you get the hang of it, it goes pretty easy. But it kicked on me a couple of times, and then I got the hang of it. So same process with I rock it back and forth a little bit. It's a little hard to see where the line is to put the beading tool in, but it didn't take long to get it. And I went all the way around. After I got that done, I went all the way around to the top of it and beaded that as well. After I had that done, I went ahead and wet sanded it, folded the sandpaper over so I could get down in all the little grooves, and same process here. We sanded it all the way up to 600 and then switched over to the micro mesh. I didn't put a finish on it or buff it or anything. I just kind of, it actually came out really nice without outputting like the Pins Plus or using a buffing wheel on it. It looks pretty cool. But that's about it on both of them. They go pretty quick. Just rinsed it off and then it's ready to go. Just thread on a stopper or opener on it and you're done. There we go. Got them both done. The stoppers just screw right into them. I was thinking about just different things you could do, and I've never seen a stopper that's been, or a resin stopper that's been beaded like that. So I thought that'd be kind of cool with the honeycomb ones. So it's super cool stuff. And then on this one, I was trying to think of different ideas for it. So like with a stopper blank, you can slice it up and get, out of like one blank, you could do 4 or 5 of them with just an inlay piece in the top of it. So you don't have to use the whole blank. You can actually do something like that. And it's just do an inlay piece like that. It really sets it off and just uses a little bit of it. So kind of cool. The burl, it's maple burl. And the stoppers I put on this are the whiskey stoppers, but super cool stuff. We do have that on the website on Niles, the blanks that Zac made for us. So it's just unique stuff and just super cool. And I think the way the light, reacts with it, just as you spin it around, I'll have it on a turntable here. It's just awesome stuff, but fun stuff. Yeah. Like those two I filmed, but you can turn stoppers in about 10 or 15 minutes. I mean, this is super quick, or bottle opener handles or anything like that. So it's a fun, quick project. All right, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe button, and we will see you next week. Take care.